I watched Velma and not I watched Velma in the God. What is this? What is this fucking bullshit? None of the characters are the same. The plot doesn't make sense. And look at what they did to my boy. They made Shaggy into a Negro. It's just this. Oh my, they ruined my childhood kind of shit. I didn't just watch a few trailers in the first episode and just like make up my mind about what the show is about. I watched the whole thing. I'm planning on just like finishing the entire series, this season of the show. Just if there are more seasons, which I doubt there will be, I'll probably watch them too. And you're wondering, is it because I like it? No, and I'm not even like hate watching it. It's an okay show. A lot of it isn't good, but some of it is exceptional. And before you just like click off and just like write me off as just some Velma apologist, just like maybe some of the social commentary justify its existence. It doesn't. It doesn't. None of what it does justifies its existence. But the potential it had really makes you resent the people who are making the show for not making it the best version of itself. Okay, just watch this scene.
Who killed Brenda, Velma?
It is so well animated. It's not even that. Okay, these are just like I'm going to only show a lot of the clips I'm going to show are going to be like from the first two episodes because I'm 100% sure most people didn't make it past that. And look at this. This is just like the first episode. Look at what's happening here.
And how are you going to prove that?
All of this happened within a 20-minute episode. All of this was just so well animated. I'm going to say it with 100% confidence that the animation on this show is on point. The animators are very skilled and they know what they're doing because the spooky parts of the show is just on point. It's like generally it's like you're like, oh, I chill in the back of my neck. It's like, damn, this is kind of scary. If they went into that with like if they went into making this show with the spooky element being like the core aspect instead of these cringy jokes they're making, it could have been a great show. What I'm saying is what my idea of this show boils down to is Velma could have been a great show if it didn't try to be funny. And I'm not saying it in like in a sarcastic sense. Maybe you shouldn't try to be funny. I'm like genuinely saying this. If it was not a comedy, this could have been one of the best animated shows of 2023. Let's make it. You have the cast, right? Freight is like the rich white douchebag.
My doctor says it's basically sickle cell for rich guys.
Is it called rudeness?
It is!
Daphne is a damn popular bimbo with Rockford brains.
But Brenda wasn't just a rare slut. She was a rare friend.
And Norville, he's just a classic incel.
I sell you a kidney to get the $500 I need to make Velma date me? I mean, I'd be a fool not to at this point, right?
So, based on those characteristics, well, I forgot Velma, but she's just a bitch. That's her character. She's a bitch. That's her entire personality. So let's go on. Based on those, they make various attempts at jokes. I can't even call them jokes. They just attempt to be funny. They fail miserably, but these are some of their attempts.
Ugh. Ugh.
This is the first scene of the movie, the show, the series. And it's funny because, you see, it's an adult show where people have sex. Do you find it amusing? You don't? Okay, next one.
Overcrowded market, you need a hook.
The only hook a good show ever needs is good storytelling.
This is funny because it's ironic because a bunch of naked high school, like most popular girls in school, are talking about how adult shows have a lot of nudity in the first episode to hook you. Do you find it ironic and funny? No? Okay. How about this?
Race blind casting, Daphne.
She has a point. Yes. A race blind casting isn't necessarily bad. If a character's race and ethnicity is not required for their character to make sense, it could be played by any ethnicity. But the problem with making that point is your show makes a point of mentioning everybody's race every 5 seconds.
You cheat off me in Spanish because you think I'm Mexican.
Maybe.
And a lot of the jokes are based around somebody's ethnic identity or just like their race. And it's not even Fred being a rich white asshole. Daphne makes those jokes, Velma makes those jokes, and you're like, okay, how blind is your race casting where everybody's race has to be mentioned all the time?
She has no brain!
And this one is funny because you see that Velma's whole thing is just like female empowerment and women should just like rise up, everything, but she's like the first person to tear down a woman. Don't you think it's like funny and ironic? Okay, then
Oh God, he looks like Hitler! And not just because we compare everyone to Hitler these days.
like the Hitler thing, because a lot of just like everybody just calls everybody a Nazi because they don't agree with them. Just like you see how self-aware it is. It's just like, oh, it's like a very left-leaning show that is making fun of people who are left-leaning who say Nazi all the time. You get it? You don't find it funny? Okay, what about this?
Fred's a rich white guy with a tiny dong.
This one is funny because body positivity is only for women. Like making fun of male small penises, and it's just so fucking funny, right? You don't find it funny? Why? It's only like the 17th time Fred's small dick is being mentioned. Like at least one of them should have gotten a chuckle out of you. It didn't? Or maybe the next one. The next one will get you.
What 420 is, right?
Yeah, it's code for adults who still watch cartoons.
Okay, this one is just like Shaggy. Now Norville doesn't do drugs and he actually hit drugs. And Velma's making fun of people who watch adult cartoons when she is in an adult cartoon because they're self-aware of like they're like kind of teasing their audience. We're making fun of you guys. And I have never really seen a show that hates what it is and its audience to such an extent. It makes a point at every possible opportunity to insult you for watching it or just being the type of person who would enjoy it. But even if that didn't get a laugh out of you, the next one absolutely will.
I spit truth without a filter, like every comedian before #MeToo.
Because you get it? Mere free speech. This fucking soft snowflakes on the left just like cancelled free speech, and now because Me Too happened, nobody can say anything. It's just even Velma is just like saying something that's just like, oh, so fucking edgy. You don't think it's funny? Okay, the last one. This is just like the mastery of comedy in this show. You just classic scene, right? They're heading into the war. They're going to jump out of the window, right? Next scene, you flip and no, they went through the wall. Were your expectations sufficiently subverted? You don't give a fuck? Okay. I'm sorry to have wasted your time. This is what the comedy in this show boils down to. Not funny jokes, horrible attempts at being edgy, even worse attempts at being self-aware and ironic, and visual gags that leaves you so disappointed that you actually think the show owes you money or like time as a currency. It's just like, I spent 5 minutes of my life watching this and I actually want my 5 minutes back. There should be some kind of authority, some kind of universal God or some kind of divine entity that manages the universal flow of time, and you want to go to them and be like, okay, I fucking want my 5 minutes back. Like, this is not worth it. And the social commentary this show makes the jokes seem decent in comparison because they're so bad. You have the classic Norville is an incel and is kind of self-awarely, sarcastically just saying that, oh my god, it's just look how problematic Norville is. But the show never really goes the lengths it has to show you that what Norville thinks and what Norville does and his expectations with his relationship with Velma is deeply problematic. They just make it like this funny little gag.
Guy sells something and then blackmails the girl into dating him for it. Problematic, but effective.
And you have the classic white people suck, because of course they do.
If I were a rich white dude, I'd kill everybody just to get away with it.
This is just like, it wouldn't be empowered POCs and women rising up kind of show without the white men are horrible kind of jokes. Which in certain contexts where they're being written by people who are actually good at writing jokes are exceptionally funny. This is not one of the shows, and it gets tired by the second time it is mentioned. And it is just, in general, everything that is this show sucks. But it could have been so much better. Or should I say, the show could have been actually great if Mindy Kaling was not at the helm and she was not so desperate to make some kind of funny, adult-centric, oh my god, look at this dumb YA shows that are centered around a bunch of dumb kids doing dumb things. Let's all just gather around and make fun of these kids for being dumb kids kind of shows. If it was just like a more like grounded, more spooky kind of psychological thriller, it could have been really funny if just like cut out all the jokes and kept some of like the social commentary, but they actually found a writer that was good at writing these shows. It could have been a great show. And the reason why I adamantly believe this is this scene.
I don't solve mysteries. Not anymore.
This scene is played for laughs in the first episode and it's considered to be quite dumb. But this scene has the potential to make this a very interesting mystery show. But this show doesn't really make itself or the mystery interesting because the only reason the mystery is just like going on is because the characters are dumb and they keep doing dumb stuff to make themselves look guilty. For example, this scene.
I could kill them all.
They're so cartoonishly implicating themselves in the murders, you could almost call it an anti-red herring. It's like, it's not even like the show trying to be like, okay, maybe they could have done it, maybe you don't know. It's like, they go to such extent to incriminate themselves. You're absolutely certain, okay, this person is dumb, but they're not guilty. Velma does it, Fred does it, and
Your guys have no idea what's coming to them.
And whoever the blame is going to shift to after Fred is proven innocent is going to do the same thing. But if you just wanted to tell a grounded mystery horror kind of show, it would have been so great. Check this, right? A small town in somewhere in America, because I didn't look up the show, is being terrorized by a serial killer. And his victims are piling up. The town is in terror. And there is only one girl, one frumpy, dumpy high schooler who could solve this mystery. But the problem is, she doesn't solve mysteries anymore. But it's up to her to find the killer. Then cue villain opening, and then if they took like the spookiness from the kind of like the PTSD kind of induced hallucinations she has, and they kind of like extended it to the other cast members who also have their own inner demons, and other characters were having similar like PTSD flashbacks, not necessarily like PTSD, but just like very like vivid hallucinations of like their inner darkness just coming up to the top. It would have been really great because okay, Velma, the show already makes it clear.
She left us.
La 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 la. No, she didn't. Something bad happened to her, and it's my fault.
She blames herself for her mother's disappearance. Her desperate need to deny her abandonment triggers her hallucinations every time she tries to solve a mystery because she correlates solving mysteries with her mother's disappearance, which trigger a lot of her trauma. So you could do that with the other characters.
Together so I can be the man my father expects me to be.
Zam.
Where Fred, he's not secure in his masculinity because his dad is like ultra child and he makes him feel like less of a man. And a lot of times when Fred is put in situations where his masculinity or his manhood is challenged, he becomes very vicious. And those could have been where Velmas are like seen as like horror inducing when she's like terrorized. They could be like just like egging him on to be more violent, more toxically masculine, you know? That could have been a great way to just like show his inner demons, his inner thoughts, his insecurities, like fueling his violent outbursts. And Daphne,
Searching for my birth parents has brought up a lot of feelings of abandonment for me.
she made it clear that searching for her bio parents has made her feel abandoned. She's insecure in her relationships, and that's why she pushes Velma away when she tries to get closer. And those could have been seen as just like things that are like dragging her down, kind of that scene of like Velma coming out of like a black tar kind of pit. You could do the reverse of like her insecurities of like Daphne like bringing her down into the tar pit. Similar things could happen, and other things which is like Norville.
Date? You wish. Date? What?
Which be like the last thing, he is desperate for female validation. He wants attention. He wants Velma's attention. And even when he moves past like Velma and he wants to pursue other people, he still has like very problematic views on his relationship with women. It's very transactional. It's very toxic. It's very warped understanding of how romantic relationship should progress or they should come about. So how he views women and how he interacts with women, all that could have been just like illustrated very well within the context of like the arts the artists are doing. Because I'm more honestly going to say this, I think the only people who are actually talented in this show are the animators, because the writers are garbage, the people who are doing the comedy is garbage, the voice acting is decent but it's not exceptional. The artists could have made something that is what I'm describing, because the show is visually interesting but what they are representing through the visuals is utterly boring. It's like they have the capacity to make great art, but they fall short. And the writing in the show is just so horrible because let me like give you an example of like Norville's arc with Velma is kind of came to a conclusion. It's in the show he is just like this simp who's like willing to do anything. Sometimes you just like kind of feel pity for him, but the other times it's just he's not a good guy. It's like he's typical good guy TM inside because he sees his relationship with Velma as transactional, like a vending machine. He puts in the right currency, he presses the right buttons, relationship is going to fall out of the bottom. It's not like she has to like him as a person, or she has to be interested in him, or he has to be her type. No, it's like he has to do a certain amount of things, and when he has done them to completion, she would obviously fall in love with him, which is a very problematic way of viewing relationships, but he does that. Anyway, so you see him getting rejected over and over and over again, which is pathetic, and you kind of feel sad for him. But every time he wants to move their relationship forward or become closer to her, he does like the most problematic things, having those most problematic thoughts. But the problem is not that he's problematic, or the show is portraying him as being problematic, because he is problematic, and the show should show that he is a problematic person. But when his crush on Velma is resolved, it's not like he comes to understanding that maybe I was like going about this like the wrong way, maybe I should stop. No, what happens is Norville figures out that Daphne and Velma has like a thing, right? They like each other. So he approaches Daphne to get closer to her so he could mimic her personality. So essentially what he wants to do is find somebody that Velma likes, mimics their personality, then using their personality trick her to falling in love with him. And he only gives up on that idea because he realizes that Daphne, being the vapid kind of popular girl dumbass that she is, isn't all that smart, and she's kind of reckless, and she does very questionable things, where he realizes that, okay, I could do a lot of things that she does, I could mimic a lot of her personality, but I'm not reckless like she is. I'm not going to put myself in danger pursuing things, because one, his survival instincts are too high, and two, he is too smart to put himself in danger, and he realizes that her reckless, like wild, outgoing personality is what Velma is attracted to. So he realizes that unless he is willing to put himself in danger over and over and over again to show Velma that he has the same kind of personality as Daphne is, he won't have a chance with Velma. So he realizes that, okay, this is too much work, I'm not doing it anymore, I'm done. And he decides that he's going to move on to the next girl. And the show doesn't really make him realize or make like the point that, no, he didn't start being a creepy weirdo, he just changed his targets. Now he's no longer fixated on Velma, he's going to do that with another girl. So he's going to keep being this creepy, obsessive, borderline sociopathic dude who's willing to do anything manipulative, just like backhanded, just like to kind of coerce a relationship out of a woman. But it's like funny now because it's just not. It's not funny though. It's actually not funny. I was trying to come up with a joke, but my mind drew a blank that there is nothing even like humorous about how this plot wrapped up. And it's like Norville is a core cast member. They're just the four of them are like the Mystery Inc., right? So the fact that they don't even like care to resolve his character arc of like his romantic pursuit of Velma to an extent when you think, okay, this is like resolved quite well, just shows how poor the writing of this show is. This show could have been a solid 9 out of 10, but no wonder it's only a 1 out of 10 on IMDb. And one thing to add, it's just, I do realize that it's like self-insert kind of show for Mindy Kaling, but it's weird that she wrote it so that the two most popular people in their high school, the most popular dude and most popular girl, both have like huge crushes on her. It's like, damn, you're like really just like playing out your high school fantasies in this show, aren't you? Like, it's like, damn, if you spent half the time writing better like story arcs for your characters than you did coming up with this bullshit, you might have had actually like a decent show, like a 5 out of 10 at least.